The latest addition to the Kuva lineup is the Kuva Sobek. A rapid-firing automatic shotgun, it is a direct upgrade from the normal Sobek. Mostly. Let's see what it does and how you can get the most out of it. I'm Nick Engineer, let's solve a practical problem. Getting hold of a Kuva Sobek is a straightforward, if somewhat long process. It's very similar to getting a Tenet weapon, which I covered recently in my guide to the Tenet Galaxian. To sum it up, you need to have completed the war within and obtained a railjack. Then you can begin the process. I recommend taking your progenitor frame of choice to Cassini on Saturn, solo, and run the mission as normal until the lights flicker without a transmission from an NPC. When that happens, obliterate enemies as quickly as possible to cause a Kuva larvaling to spawn. You only get 30 seconds to trigger the spawn after the lights flicker, so it's best to avoid killing enemies until they do flicker to give you the best opportunity. Once the larvaling spawns, check the weapon on offer and mercy it should the weapon be the right one. If not, complete and redo the mission. The rest of the process is just like a Sister of Parvos journey, only it takes up to twice as long normally and has you stabbing the thralls of the Lich, not some robo-dogs. With normal modding, the Kuva Sobek is for all intents and purposes a regular automatic shotgun. It has an 8 multi-shot, fires hit scan bullets, has a spread, deals a lot of damage, and sure enough, uses shotgun mods. In this regard, the Kuva variant is a direct upgrade. It has higher base damage, made yet higher by the progenitor bonus, which also grants elemental control. The critical chance has dramatically increased, while the critical damage and status chance both go up too. In terms of raw status output, it is one of the very highest for shotguns available. Some others can win out, mostly due to quirky options like the Cedo alternate fire. The Kuva Sobek doesn't use such quirks innately, pouring out an unmodded status of 2.6 effects per second. With modding, this gets very high very quickly. Features which enhance or even guarantee status effects work very nicely on the Kuva Sobek too. Lavos' Valence formation guarantees a status proc on every hit, which stacks on the multi-shot of the Kuva Sobek to frankly ludicrous effect. With just 180% multi-shot bonus, it's enough to apply total armor strip from corrosive procs in a single shot, even if every chance-based status proc does something non-corrosive. As if that status output wasn't enough, you then can pick up the Clip Delegation mod from the current Nightwave at rank 15. This Sobek specific mod provides a bonus to both multi-shot and status chance on reloading, lasting until you next reload. This bonus can reach a staggering 225% to both stats. The catch is you need to aim a bit. Every time you fire and land at least one hit, this mod gets ready to give you an additional stack of 15% bonuses on reload. Multi-shot does not increase the number of hits per shot as far as this mod is concerned, limiting you to 1 stack per shot. As both the Sobek and Kuva Sobek come with a 20 round magazine, this means you need to completely miss no more than 5 shots per reload. What's more, this mod is going to be problematic for players who compulsively reload, or who use reload while hosted effects like the Synth set. That set will immediately trigger the reload effect with each round loaded, the first one triggering the bonus, and the next one wiping it out as you scored no hits. If you're going to use this mod and a second weapon, do not use any passive reloading features. So long as you clear these relatively low hurdles though, it's an incredible status and multi-shot bonus. The multi-shot alone is worth almost as much as a max stack Galvanized Hell, while also bringing a status bonus and no kill requirements. The lack of kill requirement makes it suitable even for ultra low density missions such as assassinations. This completely eclipses the value offered by the Shattering Justice mod, an older Sobek specific mod from Steel Meridian. Shattering Justice provides an always active 90% status chance bonus, no multi-shot bonus, and the intermittent benefits of the Justice effect, which is overall rather forgettable. Using these mods, the Sobek is a no-nonsense shotgun with good damage and high status. It's able to be crit modded like this while also benefiting significantly from Arcane Avenger, much like the Tenet Galaxian. Very standard setups, such as a heat viral approach or corrosive cold approach, all get work done. With the upcoming update to status effects, even a blast electric setup might be a right move in some missions. In terms of your progenitor selection, the devil is in the details. Specifically the details we don't yet have for the status rework. If you want a safe option, pick Magnetic. For Old Faithful with heat viral setups, possibly getting stronger with this update, use a heat progenitor. For access to a variety mix of powerful types with fewer mods, use a Toxin progenitor. But the Sobek lineup isn't just automatic shotguns. Both the normal and Kuva Sobek have access to the unique mod Acid Shells. Acid Shells causes enemies killed by Sobek to explode, dealing a tiny amount of corrosive damage in an AoE, and more importantly, a large amount of blast damage. Blast is currently a poor damage type, but that is subject to change soon. This blast damage is 45% of the initial target's max hit points, with all damage from Acid Shells falling off smoothly to 0 damage at maximum range. 45% of enemy max health is a nice starting point, but the fall off over distance is very noticeable, and that's just the start. Enemy damage reduction such as armor will further mitigate the damage. Any line of sight blockers such as walls, railings, or even slight upward inclines can also ruin the effect. Acid Shells isn't a winner on its own, but we can make some adjustments to it. Firstly, removing enemy defenses where possible is a huge improvement. Removing armor means 2 identical enemies right next to each other will have nothing but the same hit points. When one dies, the other will take close to 45% of their health as damage. Secondly, grouping enemies can be helpful to reduce the effect of fall off, increasing the overall damage taken by the cluster you create. While 45% of one isn't lethal, do it 3 times over and it will be. Thirdly, faction damage modifiers increase the Acid Shells damage. If you don't like using faction mods, tough, get good. If you want an all-round setup that can shoot everything without even changing damage types, go back to the shotgun mode. If you change damage type on a weapon, you can change a faction mod, especially with the changes coming to accessing loadouts on the navigation screen. Put the mod on. Now, in normal circumstances, this is as far as we can get. It's a good far, a grouped armor stripped explosion scaling off enemy hit points, making it viable for all levels. However, we can take it further and make it reliable with various warframes. Zephyr is able to make exceptional use of Acid Shells thanks to her Tornado's ability. Not only does this group up enemies, the blast from Acid Shells can hit the tornadoes. When they do, the damage is applied to all grabbed enemies and it regains the critical stance of the Sobek, when normally Acid Shells is a non-critical hit. This critical tornado blast can then trigger hunting munitions, slashing enemies hit by the tornado. Should an enemy die to that slash, Acid Shells counts it as a Sobek kill, triggering again and creating a chain reaction. Alternatively, we can use Sarin. Toxic Dash will trigger on weapon hits, applying a second hit that's pure toxin with a toxin proc. The explosion from Acid Shells triggers Toxic Dash, giving us that second hit. Not only that, Toxin Dash normally gets the benefits of elemental mods on your weapon, just converted to toxin damage. Despite Acid Shells not using elemental mods, Toxic Dash will, and it'll apply your faction damage modifier a second time, significantly increasing the damage enemies take when the initial target dies to the Sobek. Just as with Zephyr, enemies killed by Toxic Dash are treated as Sobek kills by Acid Shells, triggering a new explosion and again a chain reaction. Sarin is able to enhance this both by applying viral procs in a large area with miasma and by applying corrosive procs with spores. This increases the likelihood of lethal hits over distance and helps to defeat armor. For a different option, you can look to Zaku. Just like with Sarin, Zaku has Zarta's Whisper, which applies a second weapon hit, only this is converted into Ghetto Void damage. While this doesn't trigger an ongoing toxin proc, it still gets both the benefit of all elemental mods and reapplies faction bonuses on top of the Acid Shells explosion. Where Zaku is stronger than Sarin is in being able to set up permanent zones of defense removal, only having to recast the Vaston time to keep it all up. This makes for a more consistent chain reaction in a large area. If you don't want to use any of these frames, Zarta's Whisper is also a Helminth ability. It can be put onto any warframe of your choice, including for example, Frost. Even before his upcoming buffs, Frost is a capable warframe, including a wide area total armor strip ability. Combine this with the rest of his kit as you see fit. You are free to pick your ideal warframe with whichever playstyles, armor strips, and defense. As for the Sobeks themselves, this approach rather unusually makes the normal Sobek better. You see, Acid Shells isn't using any of the Sobek's own stats. Neither crits, nor damage, nor status, nor progenitor element applies. It's all in the modding. As a result, so long as you can still get those initial kills with the Sobek, it's better than the Kuva Sobek due to one single stat: Riven Disposition. With an appropriate Riven, specifically a good faction damage Riven, the normal Sobek will win out in the explosion department by having a higher bonus, thus higher output, thus higher lethal radius on Zarta's Acid Shells. That single difference is not worth over-investing in normal Sobek however. The Kuva Sobek will do just fine and is objectively superior if you don't have a relevant ribbon. So take your pick of automatic shotgun enforcement with a multi-shot status augment, or go for an explosive result with Xata's acid shells on any frame of choice. Just remember, the latter needs unarmored enemies in close line of sight. Either way, you can get a lot of room clearing done. That wraps up on the Sobek. If this video has helped you, support the channel now by joining on Patreon for more behind the scenes. That's all from me for now, so as always, strip rooms, cause booms, and fight well, Toto.